I've gone ahead and opened up this drawing with the SketchUp file that's downloaded on the computer, the SketchUp program that's downloaded on the computer. Now we're going to talk about getting this file into Vcarve Pro, which is the program that writes the G code for the CNC router. The only reason I opened it up here on the desktop is just to confirm that everything's looking good. I always will come back and pull dimensions on just about everything to ensure that this is going to get cut right. I don't like that it does it in feet and inches, so if I come up here, model info, and I go to units, and I want to change this to fractional, and now it gives me inches. That's one of the things I like better about the downloaded version instead of the version on the internet. But I'm going to check the overall piece sizes here just to ensure that I am right. I'm going to compare these to my plans and make sure that everything is hunky-dory so that I am awesome. Going to get a cabinet that works out just great. Remember, these are going to be an 1/8 inch longer because we stuck them into the sides, an 1/8 of, or 1/16 of an inch on each side. Everything's looking good here. If there's any other dimensions you want to verify, that's fine. But all these pieces are going to get cut out of the 3/4 inch alder. So I'm going to make sure I erase the dimensions because we don't want those to come in when we import everything else. So we're good to go. I'll save this. Remember where you saved it because you're going to have to go find it. And you can close this if you want, but I'll leave it open. And we're going to go find this Vcarve Pro program. It may be on your list of programs under Vcarve Pro, and it may be on the desktop. I'm not sure where they're at. What we're going to do here is create a new file. When we create a new file, the first window we're going to get to is going to ask us how big the piece of wood that we're going to mill this out of is. We'll start with a 4x8 sheet of plywood, so you can see on the jobs, leave the job type single-sided. We're not going to flip this over. But the job size, 48 by 96, and we want to tell it that it's 3/4 of an inch thick. If this is not done right, we're going to run tools right through the bed of the mill, of the CNC router, and we don't want to have to do that. We want to make sure that our 0 position is in the machine bed and that our datum position is the bottom left corner. This is where the 0, 0 is on the machine. Then we should go ahead and hit OK. Make sure this is in inches and hit OK. Now we can get into writing the tool paths, but we first have to open up the SketchUp file into Vcarve. So to do that, we're going to come over here, the 4th icon from the right, and we're going to go find it. So mine is on my computer in my network drive, which is where yours should be. You can't pull a file off the internet. That is Woods 2, and I went too quickly. And then I'm going to the example Eurobox cabinet, and I'm going to open it up. Now most of these things should be automatically selected. Gap between parts, we're going to use a 3/8 of an inch bit. So we could get by with a 1/2 inch gap between parts. These boxes should be checked. Auto orientate. What this is going to do is if you have trouble with the grain going the wrong direction, we can always rotate the pieces, but if you've noticed that it's importing all of it wrong, you can not auto orientate it. Either way will be just fine because we can always move pieces around after. And then we do not want to replace the outer boundary. This will get rid of dados and things like that. So if you've got a project with dados or pockets, don't do that. This is only if you're cutting out flat things, like if you're just going to make a whole bunch of circles or ovals or rectangles. Import all visible data. We should be good to go, and I'm going to hit OK. So now there are all of our pieces. But that's not using the sheet of plywood very well. So we're going to modify it a little bit. I'm going to grab these, and right now this is all one piece, so it all moves together. So I'm going to right-click. I'm going to hit Ungroup Objects back into Original Object Layers. Now these are all individual parts. So I could take and move these, but I have to select the Edit Objects. It's the Move button with the arrows on it. Now I can take and move these. Or if it's easier, you can use the arrow keys on the keyboard to do it. I'm noticing that for whatever reason, It only brought in 2 of these stringers. Not going to be a huge issue because I can always just copy them. Well, you see what that did. It brought in an extra rectangle. I can actually delete that one without getting rid of any of my. Gotta make sure I select the whole thing. Fighting me, I'm gonna have to get right in there. There we go. Now just barely fit. Wonder, this has an extra rectangle on it too. I'm just gonna click on it and delete it. And I'll bring this one down. Now, if we happen to have some other sheets that are a little bit different in size, we can definitely make this work on just about any sheet size. Since it doesn't matter which direction these stringers, the grain is facing on the stringers, well, we'll just leave them like this because we probably should have them going up and down. Again, remember, you want to count your pieces, make sure they're all here. And I know that I need one more. So with this one selected, I'm just going to hit Control C and Control V, and that just pasted one more of them in there for me. So now I've got them all. Now we're going to have to, I'm just using the scrolling on my mouse, and we got to write our tool paths. So some of these tool paths are a little bit more complicated than others. Something we need to remember is that we are using a round cutter that spins, and so we can't get nice tight corners. So one of the things that I've learned that we can do to make these come out a little bit slicker is I'm going to click on it so just that rectangle is selected, and I'm going to pull those out just a little bit longer. It looks like there's another rectangle that's still there. Oops, didn't want to delete that one. So I'm going to make these pockets just a hair bigger. We overcut them so that we can get a square notch in there. It looks like that one's fighting me. We'll just move this right back to where it was. With my notches bigger. And I'm going to click on here. And I'm just getting them about a 1/4 inch bigger. You don't have to be too careful with this. We'll line them up with the front side anyhow. Those, and then the same thing's got to happen on our dadoes. Our dadoes need to be oversized in length because we got to make sure we don't have round corners left in our dadoes. We'll do the same thing on our rabbits. So it starts to look kind of funny because all I'm doing is extending my dadoes and rabbits a little bit longer to make sure that we get past that circular cut on the router. Okay, so they're all oversized now. Now I've got to write the file or the tool path for those. So I'm going to pause this video, take a break, come back, and write the tool paths.